Qunol ultra-high absorption primer, made with the #1 doctor-recommended form of primer, clinically tested to support joint health and a healthy inflammation response. Qunol, the brand I trust.
Okay, everybody. Well, I hope everybody saw my post this morning. I'm going to start writing my daily post thing on there now. So, another shooting attempt on President Trump. I'm going to be recapping everything. And I got a lot of big videos I want to get out. Spies, I just found a video from Wednesday, and Nell had an hour video. So let me know. I don't think we played her Wednesday, did we, Spies? If you're out there listening. Yeah, I don't think we played her on Wednesday. So we might have two. Oh, I think Michelle did too. Fire, yep. I didn't want to go on because I wanted to be all rested up for today because I'll be doing 2 shows. I'm going to do a recap on everything. A lot of people probably missed it. The first video I'm going to do is Benny's one has an hour coverage on it. And then I'll do the short clips. I'll do the press conference and everything else. And then I got another 20-minute one on Epstein's niece talking again. I don't know if anybody saw that on Telegram. Another important one. So, a lot to cover again. But the first 3 things I want to share is our best amazing First Lady's birthday is today. So shout out to the First Lady's birthday. I got some photos and stuff, and she was wearing that green ring the other day. So we're going to show all those up before we start the intel. Lucy and Starfire, Mom. Happy Sunday, everybody. Chico's in the window. So we'll go ahead and get started. I don't know how many we'll get this morning because everybody's at church. But hopefully they'll be listening. And I'll tell you. Also, another thing I don't normally play them, but so far you might know that John Downey was on Mark Z. Was that a good interview to play or not? It's a 40-minute one. I don't know how many people would want to. So there's the first photo. That's definitely an old picture there. Oh, happy birthday. There's that one. So that was Melania's day today. And I'm going to show this here. Anybody know about that? What that means at all? Is it over or what's going on? Is that a sign? Okay, we're going to get the first video up, spinning in about an hour. So I want to cover everything. Oh, wait, I want to play this minute clip of Melania yesterday. She was...
America's children are our moral equals. As parents and leaders, it is our ethical obligation to ensure our kids develop emotionally and physically within a safe environment. Last week, I shared this declaration with members of the prestigious Ways and Means Committee on Capitol Hill. We convened to advance landmark legislation to protect the foster care community. This follows the Fostering the Future executive order signed last November. I remain impressed by our representatives' bipartisan commitment, and I'm confident this will soon become the law of the land. When passed, this will mark the second piece of legislation I have championed for the protection of America's next generation.
That was yesterday in Landmark she was at. All right, here we go. The first video of last night. Oh, he has a new live stream now, it looks like. Many there.
Is
States Donald J. Trump and First Lady Melania Trump.
This is the moment right here where you can see the president and Melania come in.
All right, happy Sunday.
And everything seemed okay.
I'll recap everything.
And everything was going to plan. This is the first time in a very long time that President Trump has been at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Just a reminder that this is a dinner that is tantamount to the Grammys, the Oscars. Yeah, this is something that would be the biggest event in any of these respective industries in Washington, D.C. The White House Correspondents' Dinner is the biggest event of the year. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of unconfirmed reports as to who the actual shooter was, but here's what we do have that is confirmed is President Trump. And the moment that the shooter opened fire, you can hear it in this clip. We'll let it play for you. Here we go. Okay, watch carefully here. Listen to that. Hear that?
I'm going to play a bunch of this as a recap, plus then I'll do intel too, so it's gonna be a long day of intel again.
Did you hear that? Those were the gunshots. This is the first video that we have. You can hear the actual gunshots. Please listen right here. Listen carefully.
Hey, my little kid.
Hear that? 5 shots fired in sequence. And now you can see the fear on Melania Trump's face. You can see sort of the horror on her face, and Caroline Leavitt's as well. President Trump seemingly unfazed by what is going on. Melania Trump and Caroline Leavitt look on in fright, of course. You can see then the Secret Service gather around. Watch this under the table. This is what I find particularly remarkable about this footage. Once again, the president will be addressing the nation shortly here. And production team, please keep track of when the president is out. Watch the table right here. Watch this. Watch the table right here. Watch this. You can see that there is a security agent either moving under the table, so you hear the shots, and then instantly see the table move. There's a security presence that actually either bumps the table or moves the table, physically moves the table. The camera zooms out, which is a shame because it would be very interesting to see closer what happens next, but this is as close as I can zoom in. You can see President Trump. You can see Melania go down there. Then you can see Caroline Leavitt hit the deck. And then they are telling the president to go down. And now you can see the Secret Service swarm the actual event here. Then you can see the tactical teams take the stage with long guns. And then here you can see the tactical teams once again taking the stage and preparing to engage if there were or was further threat. Now, we have unconfirmed photos of the actual shooter, unconfirmed identification of the shooter, and the shooter was able to fire on and potentially harm a Secret Service agent. Apparently, a Secret Service agent was shot. We have no information on the status of that agent. But once again, here is the moment, ladies and gentlemen, where Melania Trump and Caroline Leavitt in fright look on as you can hear the gunshots in this moment. Here we go. What does President Trump have to say? And producers, once again, please let me know. Let me know about what's going on with the feed and with President Trump and the White House. In the White House, President Trump will be addressing the nation from the White House after his 5th assassination attempt. Donald Trump, 5 assassination attempts that we know of. No doubt there are dozens more that we don't. Quite an evening in D.C. Secret Service and law enforcement did a fantastic job. They acted quickly and bravely. The shooter has been apprehended, and I have recommended that we let the show go on, but I will entirely be guided by law enforcement. They'll make their decision shortly. Regardless of that decision, an evening will be much different than planned, and we'll just plain have to do it again, says President Trump. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. President Trump. Law enforcement has requested that we leave the premises. Consistent with protocol, which we will do immediately. I will be giving a press conference in 30 minutes from the White House press briefing room. This is what we are waiting right now. The First Lady, plus the Vice President and all of our cabinet members are in perfect condition. We will be speaking to you in half an hour. I've spoken to all of the representatives in charge of the event, and we will be rescheduling within 30 days. Donald Trump says he will be rescheduling the White House Correspondents' Dinner within 30 days. Okay. All right. Let's jump into some of the breaking news right now. This is how I want Donald Trump to give every speech. Hopefully, this is how President Trump gives his next speech at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Donald Trump will be giving a speech shortly from the White House. He'll be giving remarks from the White House. Stay down, President Trump, and others are evacuated from the Correspondents' Dinner. Reports of possible shots fired. There were shots fired. Brian Stelter live on CNN. I heard a loud sound. It was like a plate of dinner meals falling down. It's like Brian Stelter's dream, as long as they're falling down right into his mouth. One of the poor waiters, but I have no idea. Yeah, well, it was gunshots, dude. Here we go. Many people have been posting this. It's something that is certainly concerning. I left the White House Correspondents' Dinner after having an uneasy feeling. There was no such security bag checks that I thought was suspicious. Everybody was ushered in and shoved through the doors to make way for Secret Service dogs. Tickets were barely looked at, monitoring the situation and praying that everyone is safe. Here's the Secret Service's response to this yet again threat on the president's life. I'm not sure if it is a security failure yet, but it sure seems so, as we just don't have any capacity to keep the president safe, it seems. Again, this is the fifth assassination attempt on President Trump. We will provide updates as they become available and confirm information. Our teams are on the ground assessing the situation and investigating. All protectees are safe, says the spokesperson for the Secret Service, Anthony Guglielmini, who has remained in his position even though he straight up lied about the Butler rally, which is remarkable. United States Secret Service shooting incident at the White House Correspondents' Center. The U.S. Secret Service, in coordination with the Metropolitan Police Department, is investigating a shooter incident at the main magnetometer screening area of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. The president and the first lady are safe and all protectees. One individual is in custody. The condition of those involved is not yet known. Law enforcement is actively assessing the situation. Okay. So let's go ahead and get firsthand accounts from those who are there. And also a reminder that we are awaiting the president and his comments from the White House press dais, where Donald Trump will be speaking soon. You can see here
So the t-shirts and the hats.
A live shot of the press room. Yeah, this is what we got. So we got a stand-up live shot of the press room. Please, ladies and gentlemen, bear with us again as we're doing this just from a hotel room. And the press have packed in there. ALX, pay attention to C-SPAN. I want to get a 2-minute warning here for all of this. But here we go. There's a live shot from the press room where President Trump will be speaking soon about the new assassination attempt on his life. Okay. Hello from backstage. We're at a hold behind the stage right now. Staffers are going out to reset the head table. POTUS never left and is down the hall from me. He wants the show to go on. We're told his details. Somebody tried to get through the magnetometers with a gun. The counter-assault team did their job. Unclear what that means. The specifics are now off-site. POTUS was evacuated to a holding room. The rest of us from the head tables down the hall from him. Secret Service had to determine if there were any other threats. They're being told that there are no threats. The building is not being evacuated. We're waiting for staff to reset the head table to resume the program. This did not happen. President Trump was taken away. He is at the White House right now, and he will be speaking soon. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the live shot of the White House, where you can see Caitlin Collins, Peter Doocy, some of the regulars in their
You guys want me to continue playing this full video and let's get to the short videos on the coverage? Because this one's 57 minutes. We got 14 minutes into this. So what do you guys want to do? I think the short clips will be better, I think. So I can get more intel out. That sound all right?
second crime under 111, which is assault on a federal officer using a dangerous weapon. Now, as you all know, there was an individual, a uniformed Secret Service officer, who was shot. And fortunately, he is doing all right and he will be fine. But it is clear, based upon what we know so far, that this individual was intent on doing as much harm and as much damage as he could. And thankfully, because of the checkpoint right outside the ballroom, where thousands of people were situated to hear the President of the United States, because that checkpoint worked, there was no one who was injured. And it was clear where this defendant was going.
Okay. First big update one.
Absolutely.
At the top of those steps.
Yes, there was the doors opened up. The agents were calling out where was the shots coming from. So they
What
were
you mean?
scattering around.
That-
Then folks opened those doors
Listen,
that were
is
close
that
to the
okay if you
ballroom.
get a short
And you
clip?
could see someone on the ground. I couldn't tell if the person was murdered, not murdered rather, but shot or what. But there was agents standing around him, and there was one leaning over him. So it was quite the sight. You didn't know if the president was injured or someone else, a journalist. And it was just a very, very scary thing, I think, for a lot of people that were
So I know that
in that
this
moment.
is kind of an impossible question to answer because there was so much chaos. But did you hear the suspect, anybody say anything that sounded like the suspect saying anything?
No. When I could see the doors open, I just saw a person laying on the ground. I had no idea what happened beyond that. As you know, we've experienced these tragic events multiple times. We've seen people like Steve Scalise get shot, the president almost get assassinated, of course, Charlie Kirk, and many Americans across the nation fear the political violence. Almost 80% of Americans fear political violence, and it continues to happen to conservatives. And this is the unfortunate reality I think a lot of us have to deal with when we go into these large-scale events.
Well, Gianna, we are glad you're safe, and
thank God all of us are safe.
Yes, indeed, and we really appreciate that vital footage that you got. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Great to see you. Okay, we'll keep you updated.
Donald Trump's speech.
Secret Service.
Okay. Oh man.
Law enforcement and this was an event dedicated to freedom.
Darn it. I'll find another one. This one's not letting me play it. I'll try it one more time.
Enforcement, and this was an event dedicated to freedom of speech that was supposed to bring together members of both parties with members of the press, and in a certain way it did, because the fact that they just unified, I saw a room that was just totally unified. It was in one way very beautiful, a very beautiful thing to see. A man charged a security checkpoint armed with multiple weapons, and he was taken down by some very brave members of Secret Service, and they acted very quickly and have just released, for purposes of transparency, clarity, I've ordered it to be put out. You probably have it by now, put out on Truth and put out on many of the platforms. A tape showing the violence of this thug that attacked our Constitution, and also showing how quickly Secret Service and law enforcement acted on our country's behalf. Really did a great job. One officer was shot, but saved by the fact that he was wearing obviously a very good bulletproof vest. He was shot from very close distance with a very powerful gun, and the vest did the job. I just spoke to the officer, and he's doing great. He's great shape. He has very high spirits, and we told him we love him and respect him, and he's a very proud guy. He's very proud of what he does, Secret Service agent. And we looked at all of the conditions that took place tonight, and I will say, it's not a particularly secure building. And I didn't want to say this, but this is why we have to have all of the attributes of what we're planning at the White House. It's actually a larger room, and it's much more secure. It's drone proof, it's bulletproof glass. We need the ballroom. That's why Secret Service, that's why the military are demanding it. They've wanted the ballroom for 150 years for lots of different reasons, but today's a little bit different because today we need levels of security that probably nobody's ever seen before. But everyone owes a tremendous debt of gratitude to the courage of law enforcement, the law enforcement, and working with the D.C. police. And we just spoke with the mayor. And when we're finished, the police chief is going to take over and discuss it also from their viewpoint. But they also performed exactly as they were supposed to. And you see the attacker in different positions, but you also see the attacker totally subdued and under control. So as you know, this is not the first time in the past couple of years that our republic has been attacked by a would-be assassin who sought to kill. In Butler, Pennsylvania, less than 2 years ago, all know that story. And in Palm Beach, Florida, a few months after that, we came close. We really had, again, we had some great work done by law enforcement. But in light of this evening's events, I ask that all Americans recommit with their hearts in resolving our difference peacefully. We have to resolve our differences. I will say, you had Republicans, Democrats, independents, conservatives, liberals, and progressives. Those words are interchangeable, perhaps, but maybe they're not. But yet everybody in that room, big crowd, record-setting crowd. There was a record-setting group of people, and there was a tremendous amount of love and coming together. I watched, and I was very, very impressed by that. But First Lady and I were taken very well care of, very quickly rushed off the stage. Vice President J.D. Vance, who's here, was likewise beautifully done. He was just saying how quickly everybody acted, law enforcement, Secret Service in particular in this case, but law enforcement. Marco had the same thing. Pete was there. Pete didn't want any help. He didn't want anybody to help him. He doesn't want anybody to help him, but he did get some, didn't you? And I think you also said that it was very impressive. So with that, I'd like to ask Todd Blanche to come up, say a few words, and tell you it's already underway. The man has been captured. They're going to his apartment. I guess he lives in California, and he's a sick person, a very sick person. And we don't want things like this to happen. I think it's very important that I say, though, and I told the representatives of the evening, they did such a beautiful job. It was such a beautiful evening. And again, they're talking about free speech in our Constitution. That's what it's all about, not just White House correspondence. It was really based on free speech in our Constitution. But I said very importantly that we'll do it again within the next 30 days, and we'll make it bigger and better and even nicer. So I just want to thank everybody that was involved. I also want to thank the press, the media. You've been very responsible in your coverage. I will say I've been seeing what's been out. You've been very responsible. So Todd Blanche, I'd like to say a few words, and then we're going to have cash. And then you're going to go on. We can ask, I guess we can take a couple of questions. I want to thank the First Lady that was a rather traumatic experience for her. There was a lot of action taking place up there very quickly. But again, the response time was really incredible. And we're going to reschedule. We're going to do it again. We're not going to let anybody take over our society. We're not going to cancel things out because we can't do that. We wanted to stay tonight. I will tell you, I fought like hell to stay. But it was protocol. They said, please, sir, because they didn't know there was a lot of action going on, and they didn't know could there be probably a lone shooter, but we'll find out. We'll find out very quickly. They have it very well under control. So I want to thank everybody very much. And Todd Blanche, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Tonight you saw the very worst and the very best of this country. You saw the very worst by the actions of that coward that the president just talked about. But you also saw the very best because you saw law enforcement do exactly what they're supposed to do. And you'll see the videos come out, I expect, very shortly, and you'll see law enforcement do exactly what we want them to do. And so I echo what President Trump just said, that we are extraordinarily grateful and appreciative of the men and women of law enforcement that did their jobs tonight, including one who was injured. This investigation is ongoing. I expect you will see charges filed shortly. The charges should be self-evident given the conduct, but as you'll hear, there will be multiple charges surrounding the shooting, around the possession of firearms, and anything else that we can get on this guy. The investigation is obviously ongoing and just started. There is federal law enforcement already working on search warrants and doing their job, and I don't want to get ahead of them and don't want to get ahead of the work that they're doing even as we speak. Director Patel and I were just on the crime scene a short while ago, and everybody in this room should rest assured that the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI, Secret Service, everybody's on the scene doing their job. I know that the police chief is going to give an update from the scene as soon as we're finished here, and I obviously will lead the details of what they have learned to him. But in the meantime, I just want to thank everybody in this room for the courage, and I want to thank President Trump for his.
Oh, and that was only about two. Yeah, they're about 2-minute clips. Now, Cash.
Thank you, General. Thank you, Mr. President. The president's absolutely right. You saw the best resolve of American law enforcement because you, Mr. President, inspire them 24/7, 365. You give them the resources that they need, and they know that you have their back. And that is a changing dynamic in this country, and that's why you saw brave Secret Service agents respond immediately, swiftly, subdue and take down the suspect, and safeguard the lives of thousands of individuals at that hotel. Thanks to our interagency partnership with the Department of Homeland Security and the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI was rapidly deployed onto the scene, took over the evidence response unit, is examining all the ballistics that were found on scene to include the long gun and the shell casings. We are conducting witness interviews as we speak. You will hear from our team on the scene there with the mayor and the head of the FBI field division there. But please note what the Attorney General has just said reigns no truer. You saw the very best of America tonight. The very best unite us at a time of uncertainty because we have leadership here with the president and the vice president that backs law enforcement, and the men and women that I shook their hands on the scene today could not have been prouder to show up on scene. And as the Attorney General said, make no mistake, we are conducting witness interviews. If you have any information whatsoever related to this event, 1-800-CALL-FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI. No piece of information is too small. No piece of information is inadequate. We will evaluate it all. We will also be conducting interviews of those that were there. And if any of those individuals have information, please come forward to law enforcement or the FBI or the Metropolitan Police Department. We will be examining this individual's background thoroughly. That process has already started. And we are going to ensure that he was either a lone wolf actor or anyone else that was responsible. We will analyze all evidence immediately to make sure that we safeguard this country. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, thank you for your leadership. Attorney General and Homeland Secretary Mullen, thank you for your partnership in law enforcement.
Thank you, Ken. Okay.
Thank you for your partnership in law enforcement.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, we'll do a couple and then we go to the chair. Madam Chairman, I just want to say you did a fantastic job. What a beautiful
Settle
evening,
down.
and we're going to
Settle down.
reschedule. After that, it's very tough for her to ask a killer question, right? But you have done a fantastic job. Please.
Mr. President, I appreciate it. As you mentioned, it all happened so quickly.
Yeah.
And I wonder, especially because unfortunately you have experience with these sorts of threats, in that moment when you realized there was a threat and service agents were telling us to get down, can you describe what was going through your mind, how you were feeling in that moment?
That's a very good question. Actually, it's always shocking when something like this happens. Happened to me a little bit, and that never changes. The fact we were sitting right next to each other, First Lady on my right, and I heard a noise and sort of thought it was a tray. I thought it was a tray going down. I've heard that many times, and it was a pretty loud noise. And it was from quite far away. He hadn't breached the area at all. They really got him. But so it was quite far away, but it was a gun. And some people really understood that pretty quickly. Other people didn't. I was watching to see what was happening. Probably should have gone down even faster. Melania was very cognizant, I think, of what happened. I think she knew immediately what happened. She was saying, that's a bad noise. And we were whisked away along with other people, but we were really whisked away. And again, the performance of the Secret Service and the police, all of the law enforcement, I thought was really good. So it was very quick. There wasn't a lot of time to be thinking because it was a matter of seconds before we were out the door and gone into an area. We very much, and you wanted to too, we very much wanted to continue it because I don't like to let these sick people, these thugs, these horrible, horrible people change the fabric of our life, change the course of what we do. So we held out. You were there. We held out right till the end, but they didn't want to take a chance, and I understand it was protocol. But we're going to be doing one hopefully within the next 30 days or sooner, and I am ready, willing, and able. And I was all set to really rip it. And I said to my people, this would be the most inappropriate speech ever made if I said one. So I'll have to save it. I don't know if I could ever be as rough as I was going to be.
Okay. I'll do a few more for now and then come back and do a few more later. Then I got the guy at TikTok. He came out one this morning, 9 minutes.
About that. And I asked.
Oh, I can't do that one. All right, we're going to get to TikTok guy.
This is HG and HD. This is EPAC, the news you need. I'm your host, HG Gerner. This is in, I guess, response to what I posted on TikTok just hours ago. As soon as I posted my comments on TikTok, they took it down immediately. You violated our community guidelines. This is what I want to talk about. This is very, very important. It's 6 a.m. here in California right now. I'm your host, HG Gerner, and like I said, this is EPAC, the news you need. The Democratic, I guess what you might say, the Democrat Marxist media, social media, mainstream Marxist media, they're going to try to spin this into some sort of unbelievable bullshit. More importantly, I want the facts to be known. This was posted just minutes ago in Washington, D.C., okay? From Just the News. Just the News, okay? The acting attorney general says, and that's Todd Blanche. This guy is Donald Trump's go-to guy. Brilliant man. He says the White House Correspondents' Dinner gunman was likely targeting Trump administration officials and Donald Trump. Listen to me very carefully. When I posted this, I actually said this was, I guess, if I use the wrong words, okay, here's the important thing. If I say the wrong words, the algorithm on TikTok will shut me down in a minute. Here's the important thing. Let me read this to you and get this down as best I possibly can. Okay. The acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, said this morning that the gunman at the White House Correspondents Association dinner appeared to be targeting members of the Trump administration, likely including the president. But he didn't want to get out ahead of the investigation, okay? It does appear that he did act, this is a quote, it does appear that he did act, in fact, he did, in fact, set out to target folks who work in the administration, likely including the president. Close quote. Well, when a guy has a rifle, a shotgun, a handgun, let's be specific. He had a shotgun, a handgun, and several knives. And he was there prior to the correspondence dinner. He broke through, actually, if you see some of the graphic, I guess, video of this, he broke through the initial, I guess, security apparatus. They have layers, okay? They'll check and check and check and check, and then you'll be able to get into the actual room. He broke through the first layer, and he came in running, guns blazing. So let's take this, step by step. What was he there to do? When he's coming in, guns blazing, and the president and a lot of important people there, dignitaries, the president's cabinet, the president, his wife, the members of the cabinets, their family, their wives, etc. Kash Patel, many people of the mainstream media, and most of them, and this is the funny thing with Donald Trump. He said that dinner was very congenial. People, he liked the way we were, the correspondents and people were trying to get together and get along. He was trying to heal. He was basically trying to bring some sort of cohesiveness between his administration and the mainstream media. But then you got a guy, and this is the part that dumbfounds me with TikTok and many of these Marxist media outlets. They're going to try, first off, they don't want you to get the information that you need. This is why I put together EPAC, and I'm an educated in Marxist political warfare. But these mainstream media Marxist yahoos just don't want you to get the news you need. They want to spin it into some bullshit or literally falsify the information. A main component of Marxist political warfare is to distort the information that they're giving to you, or lie purposely, or omit information that you need. This is a major component of Marxist political warfare. If you go to Preserving America, EPAC.com, that's my website. I wrote a book and I produced 4 documentaries on Marxist political warfare. I've studied this for the better part of a decade. This Marxist political warfare was basically, I guess, designed by the KGB back in the 1930s. It is an asymmetric, unconventional type of warfare. What does that mean? That means it is not, they don't use bombs or bullets. They use the ballot. They use information. It is now and has been over the last couple of years. I've been trying to tell people for the last couple of years, it's going conventional. What does that mean? I think everybody knows what it means. They're going to start using weapons, bullets. The American people, especially the conservatives, the Christian conservatives, people like myself, who apparently now Donald Trump and guys like us that voted for him and people like us that voted for him are fascist. And these Democrats must save our democracy from fascism. These people hate Donald Trump so much, it literally shuts down areas of the brain that are responsible for rational thought. They become impulsive and they become destructive. And the next thing is they become violent. This is a war being waged on this country, and it is abundantly clear now. Look what they did to Donald Trump back in Pennsylvania during his campaign when he was out in that field. Look what they did to Charlie Kirk. This is I guess what you might say, a coordinated effort to take down anyone that does not, I guess, agree with them, these marches, on an ideological scale. We need to pray for America. We need to pray for Donald Trump. We need to pray for ourselves. And we need to pray for these marches to get their heads, they got their head stuffed so far up there, you know what? It's stunning. They think they're saving the democracy. Well, any adult can see what they're doing. It's going conventional now. Americans like myself are not safe on the streets. These people, I'm telling you what, these marches, you don't see the Democrats of old anymore. This is war, make no mistake. I'm going to put my website down at the bottom here in the link, and I'm going to put my email. I'm H.G. Gerner. I wrote a book and produced 4 documentaries. You can go to our website and you can watch all 4 of our documentaries for free. Email me. Tell me what you think about it.
Okay, another good one from him. I got a 5-minute one coming up next.
To exchange emails with then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
Political advisors worried pay-to-play allegations could overshadow the beginning of her White House bid. And while he downplayed all of this on Sunday, Mook wrote a February 2015 email marked Foundation Vulnerability Points, which listed out 2 pages of problems that could hamper the campaign, including donations from foreign governments like Morocco, private jets, and pricey hotels.
These are stolen documents.
And then there's a new email dragging President Obama deeper into the controversy over Clinton's private email account and server.
Mr. President, when did you first learn that Hillary Clinton used an email system outside the U.S. government for official business while she was Secretary of State?
The same time everybody else learned it through news reports.
That comment triggered immediate alarm from Clinton's top advisors. Cheryl Mills writing, "We need to clean this up. He has emails from her. They do not say state.gov. White House spokesman Josh Earnest tonight is stressing the president never said he did not trade emails with Clinton. He just didn't know the details about her server.
President Obama has a highly secured BlackBerry that he uses to get emails, and it has 2 functions. One is to mask his physical location when he's using it, and the second is to make sure every email, every text message, every phone call has been vetted and pre-approved for him to receive. It's called whitelisting. So if you or I had the president's email, if we sent him a message, it would be blocked and it would bounce back. So the question is, Did he receive the Clinton emails on the BlackBerry? And if so, when did his team direct the White House Communications Office to accept that email and whitelist it? Because it's a very deliberate act. It doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah, you got to get cleared in, right?
Correct.
Just like you got to get cleared into the White House, you got to get it
Exactly.
cleared into the president's email list. Now, we know that he did exchange emails with her when she was writing from emails from her private server.
Correct.
Now, the question, I guess, is whether he received those emails on a computer somewhere, or whether he computed on his little BlackBerry, which requires the extra step of getting it cleared, right?
That's right. The key thing here is whether his staff asked for her address to be added to that BlackBerry before March of 2015. That's when he said, I first learned about the server from news reports. That's when the New York Times reported the story. But everything that we see suggests that he was receiving emails from her on the BlackBerry prior to that period.
Right, and we know, of course, that those emails from her did not say Hillary Clinton at state.gov,
That's right,
which
exactly.
would have been the normal internal system.
That's right.
So it's also understandable to me, however, that if she was in his address book,
correct,
she would have been there under the name. And if I send you an email on the Fox system, I look up your name, and I don't know the particulars of the address. I just know that it goes to you. If I looked at it, I could find it, but you might not notice that.
That's right. But someone, I was told, either the chief of staff or deputy chief of staff would have to take a directive from the president to add an address. And if you just look at that simple address, even if you're not an IT wizard, you see that it's not a government address.
You know it ain't state.gov, right?
That's right. You see clintonemail.com, and that tells you that there is a registered domain for that address, and it was being used for government business.
So either a staffer or the president himself must have done this.
It would likely be the chief of staff.
And if he received them on his BlackBerry, and we don't know that, correct?
Everything suggests that these emails were received on the BlackBerry.
Yeah, it would make sense that they would be.
Because they had so many in-person meetings, it wasn't a situation where emails were being received routinely on a desktop computer in the Oval Office.
Right. And what everybody using those at that particular time, I guess the BlackBerry was the thing, especially for Mr. Obama, who had gotten accustomed to using one before he took office.
Correct. And she wanted, remember, in the emails we saw released by the State Department, Cheryl Mills, her principal chief of staff at the State Department, wanted to see whether Hillary Clinton could also get one of these sort of Brinks truck type BlackBerries like what the president had, so that she could communicate. But again, it goes back to when she was whitelisted. When did that email get approved to be received?
And it takes us to the age-old question: what did the president know, and when did he know it?
Okay. That's that one lady reporter there that does a good job. Next one is 3 minutes.
An event that Donald Trump is speaking at, and now he's being pulled away from the Secret Service. Apparently, there was a lone gunman.
It is now a crime scene. Secret Service is in custody, has the person in custody. Everything's okay. One shooter, we know so far.
We are now just learning details. It is all brand new. Let's bring in John Roberts. He's on the phone with me right now. John, what can you tell us more about this shooting?
Well, it didn't appear to actually occur inside the ballroom where we're all assembled for this dinner. All we heard was the sudden rushing and commotion, and the Secret Service and all of the various agencies that protect people like Speaker Mike Johnson, who was here, came rushing into the room. People were told to get down. They started taking the protectees out. The president was whisked out of here in a heartbeat, along with everybody else who was on the head table up on the dais.
Everyone's freaking out over the internet. You just have to remember, we are watching a movie. All of this is staged. All of this now is trying to get more people's attention. We've got the king coming over to America on Monday. More people are going to be watching. We're at a stage where so much is going to be shown to us. And if you really don't think we're watching a movie, one, look at the images of Mike Johnson running. That's staged. If we listen to Caroline Levitt with her talk before the event started, listen to what she said.
He is ready to rumble. I will tell you, this speech tonight will be classic
Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room.
Shots fired.
Thanks,
Some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
They're telling us, they're prepping us, and they're showing us that we are watching a massive performance. People still underestimate the technology that we actually have. The Secret Service are the very best. Any event like this would be so protected, there would never be a gunman that even get close to it. So pay attention to all the reactions. Just know that we got a lot of eyes now on, and we're all going to be asking questions of what's going to happen, meaning there's a lot more things to be shown to us very soon.
The British guy. Okay, I got Juicy, and then I'm gonna play Mel Spas if you're out there. I'm not sure. She did come out Wednesday. I don't think I played her from the past Wednesday.
Own your name, your brand.
We're going to get more details, and we will continue to share our experience in that ballroom. But now let's go to senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy, who was also there when the shooting unfolded. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning. And as I got home last night, I got a call from President Trump, who I had been trying to reach throughout this chaotic situation. And I had a chance to ask him some things that I did not ask him at the briefing, namely, when this was happening and the detail was taking him out and the counter assault team came onto the stage, which is very similar to what we saw in Butler. Was he thinking about Butler? He says that he was not, and that he thinks the Secret Service did a much better job last night than they did in Butler when he was actually shot in the ear. He did have this briefing last night, though, which was part of a room filled with people who got here as quickly as they can, many who did not have the proper credentials because people don't stick their White House hard pass into their cocktail attire. But I did have a chance to ask the president this. Respectfully, why do you think this keeps happening to you?
Well, you know, I've studied assassinations. The people that make the biggest impact, they're the ones that they go after. When you look at the people that have either, whether it was an attempt or a successful attempt, they're very impactful people. I hate to say I'm honored by that, but I've done a lot. We've done a lot. We were a laughing stock for years, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We've changed this country, and there are a lot of people that are not happy about that.
And this is what that question was getting at. You look at July 13th, 2024, the Butler assassination attempt on President Trump. A couple months later, September 15th, 24, there was a second assassination attempt on the president. April 13th of last year, there was arson at Governor Josh Shapiro's home. June 14th of last year, the Minnesota House Speaker and her husband were fatally shot. Then, of course, Minnesota Senator John Hoffman and his wife were shot that same night. September 10th of last year, Charlie Kirk was fatally shot. And then last night, a gunman tried to shoot his way into the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Hakeem Jeffries, the top Democrat in Congress, posted this. He said, thankful for the swift law enforcement action to protect everyone from the gunfire at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, praying for the safety of those who may remain in harm's way, and violence and chaos in America must end. And we heard what this gunman apparently told law enforcement officials about his desire to do harm to Trump administration officials. When I was talking to the president, he is, and the things that he has been hearing, he is of the understanding that this guy was trying to essentially break down the door, shoot his way through the door, and then go right up that center aisle and shoot as many people as possible. Back to you guys.
So, Peter, you know, that was such talk about surreal. The surrealness continued into the evening with that press conference in the White House press briefing room. I've never seen anything like that. I don't think you've ever seen anything quite like that. Everybody's still dressed up, come directly from the dinner at a time when everybody was still supposed to be sitting around at that dinner, which is supposed to be a lighthearted affair. What was the mood in the Brady press briefing room?
I think people were pretty rattled because just about everybody except the folks from an in-town pool who have to stay here in case of something really bad happening like last night. Everybody was in cocktail attire, and I was sitting next to the CBS News White House correspondent Weijia Zhang, who was on the stage with President Trump, and people were understandably very rattled. It seemed like people were pretty upset, and it's one of those times where the president is not coming out to give us an update on something that has been building up for a long time. He was out there basically to reassure everybody watching who was concerned for his safety that he was okay. And they had this whole show of force. It wasn't just the people, the reporters there wearing tuxedos and bow ties. The top folks for the entire country, the people basically that run the whole world, were up there on the stage. They had all just experienced the same exact thing. And I later in the press conference, I had a chance to ask the president whether or not this is something, after Butler, his campaign team and the Secret Service put their heads together and they decided outdoor events just are not safe. It is too hard to secure an outdoor event for President Trump. It seems like indoor events, even though the president says that indoor events will continue, because if you don't have the indoor events, then you really don't have anything going on. But we should expect in the coming days to hear about major security improvements, including that could include President Trump having to wear a bulletproof vest when he is out in public. Because, yes, this person with the gun who was staying at the hotel and came downstairs, that's a very hard thing to defend against. And they did defend everybody in the room against that. But he still got way too close with a gun. And so there are going to be major changes to the protocol here. Like we will hear a lot about the plan working. And it did work because none of the protectees or guests were injured or killed. But that's way too close. And so I expect that.
Yeah, Peter, earlier I said that the suspect was killed. I should have said he was taken into custody. But when we were laying on the floor, we were informed that the suspect had been killed. And of course, that had been corrected. He was taken into custody. I want to ask you this, because after I got up and had to wait for my husband to come back because he had been pulled out of the room by his security detail, there was an announcement that things might continue. And we immediately knew that that was President Trump probably arguing with his wife and Secret Service, saying, I want to come back out. And there was sort of a debate going on. You were there. He immediately said that's exactly what had happened, that he wanted to come back out, but he was, basically told you can't, you got to follow protocol this time. And he came back and gave that press conference, as you know, from the White House press room. You were able to see the First Lady. What was your impression of her at that moment, so close to the time that this potential assassination occurred?
She did not want to make any public comments on camera last night, but she was standing right there with President Trump. And according to all accounts, she is one of the ones who told the president that this is a very serious situation based on, and there is audio. You can hear the gunshots in most of the audio clips if you just go to scrub through to the right time. And so the president says that she's the one who said this sounds serious as the detail was rushing through. But in terms of, and I've heard from a couple different people that President Trump was he was in a hold room there at the Hilton. They didn't take him right out. And the reporters who were with him in the motorcade for the short ride back to the White House say that eventually when they did leave, it was the fastest motorcade that they have ever been in, which is remarkable because you think about these places that we go with the president, you're on highways, you're in foreign countries where the cars go really, really fast. And so for cars on surface streets in Washington, D.C. to be driving as fast as some of these people who go with him everywhere, every day have ever experienced, that is remarkable. But in terms of not putting him back in the room, and you guys were there was so much confusion about what exactly was going on. Nobody ever made an announcement for everybody to, like an official never made an announcement that everybody needed to get down or to hit the deck, because and you can tell when you see these counter assault officers on the stage, they didn't know where the threat was coming from. And because of that, that's why they couldn't send the president back out.
All right. Well, thank you, Peter. Great reporting.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox.
I'm on the mail from Wednesday, you guys. I don't think I played her. Ah.
By Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Dang it. Sorry, I got messed up there. This is from Wednesday, so let me know if I don't think we played this one. Under an hour, or about an hour.
Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's Wacky Wednesday, and things are getting a little interesting, to say the least. So, welcome everybody. So, here we are at Wednesday. I haven't seen a lot per se, but we certainly have seen some activity. We just saw Trumpy basically say that Iran is over, which means have they completed the dumbs over there? And as I just
this
said,
is a new one, you
Israel
guys, I
is
believe.
last. Is Israel next? And then we're good to go. The rumour mills, of course, everybody is, everyone's getting very overly excited. I seem to feel that there's just like this transitional thing happening. So I stepped back a bit today and thought, can't validate what people are saying at the moment. It's not to say that it may or may not happen, but sometimes I'm like all of you, have to take back a little step back and see what happens. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is Wacky Wednesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So as I said, we will do, we might do 4 or 5 questions just to see if I can remember the fantastic call that I was in yesterday, of course, was with this gene decode. I was very overwhelmed. Boy, if you haven't had a chance to listen to that video, that was I took 9-10 pages of notes. So I highly recommend that everyone gets a chance to listen to Gene Decode. Thank you again to the honour and privilege of being in that Zoom call yesterday. It was, yeah, very, very exciting. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, it is over to you today. As I said, I'm not going to try and validate any of the rumour mills that are out there. We will wait for someone to pop up and ask a question or have a chat about something that is on your mind, or maybe you have heard something today that you would like to ask me about. So it's all over to you, ladies and gentlemen. We have 101 people. Whoa, hold on a second. Settle down, you pedals, you beautiful, beautiful people. So, so anyone who wants to ask the question, feel free. Put your hand up. Don't be shy, but what I can do, oh, there we go. Isabella, love you, love you, love you. I don't like talking to myself, so let's rock and roll, yeah? Just let me allow you to speak, darling. It's going to, my poor old tablet's just about ready to be booted. Isabella, how are you, my darling? It takes a little while.
Hi, Mel. Can you hear me?
I can. Oh my gosh, that was loud.
Good morning to everyone from Sydney. It's a beautiful autumn morning, sunny
It
but
is.
pleasant.
Yeah, it is.
Now, I started listening to Nicole because I'm following him for many years, and I started listening to it. But then you came up, and I thought, no, I got to talk to Mel.
Oh,
Mike, I got two questions. One is,
yes,
do we have a group in Australia that you created a smaller group that is based more on Australian issues?
yeah, absolutely. Would you like to join in on that one? Yeah,
That's why I
okay.
joined you, Mel, because you're the only one who is decent and has the facts. The rest is wishy-washy bullshit. Doesn't
It is,
resonate
yeah.
with me. I'm a
cool.
down to earth, straightforward person. I don't like this inky pinky.
There you are, Spies. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I found this on Melanie channel on Telegram, and she didn't have this one up. So I wonder if she forgot, or I don't think I played this one, did I? It's from Wednesday.
Pinky,
Yeah.
talks.
Yeah.
I would really like to belong to your group. There we are, more realistic stuff, not bullshit. Excuse me, but a lot of them are.
Absolutely.
I thought, do we have anybody decent in Australia? And then I found you. I was just so excited. I sent to my friends. I said, "Look, this is where we need to go." Mel is the only one. The rest, I like Ricardo Bossi. But he's on another level,
He is. Yeah,
and
he is,
I like
actually.
his straightforwardness, and actually, I think he's a very intelligent man.
100%. Yes.
Very
And
extremely.
I'm sure he'll play a role somewhere along the line.
Yes.
But
yes, so do I.
So Isabella, I'm going to write your name down, and hopefully I can think. Otherwise, private message me at.
I don't know how to try, Mel. I tried everything.
Oh, honey. So you go up in the search. Okay, well, I'll see if I can connect to you, and I'll send you a quick voice message. And then I'll send you the video that I did in my Australian group yesterday.
Yeah, thank you. Much appreciated, darling.
That's okay.
Because I'm in everywhere and nowhere, and I'm picking up bits and pieces to the puzzle, and oh gosh, it's tiring. It is so tiring, and I understand we need to do our own research to get the facts. But I find that you are a smart woman. You know what's going on. You got your fingers on the pulse, and that's what I like. Thank you.
That's quite okay.
Very much in advance.
My pleasure, darling.
Second question is, I'm seeing this bullshit that people are like Big Daddy. Not that I trust him with everything. Who only knows? There could be AI, images. I don't know. But he's holding, and I heard about this black cue card. I think it's not true.
No,
I showed that earlier, you guys.
That's what I thought. Sorry, and I thought I'm going to ask because I looked up on Google, I searched, and I know who gets a black card.
Absolutely.
Extremely wealthy people are. I'm aware of that, but having that queue on it, I thought, how far people go.
They do, and they're trying to sell an idea, or they're scammers and this, that, and all the rest of it. And what's happening is that they got onto the bandwagon. Is that yes, you will get a black card when you are wealthy.
Yes,
you did get one, but you can't get one until the money's in the bank. And this is why I say to people, take a step back. So this is a great reminder that I think Holly and I said the same thing on Holly's show the other day. Please be very wary that these scammers are going tooth and nail to get to you, especially if you're in these channels. They are targeting people, sending people messages. there's a lot of even bot channels. Now, a lot of people follow, say, I'm trying to think of one at the top of my head, Q17 or something to that effect. I don't know if it's them specifically, but let's just say, for instance, and you go through and they start selling or bringing up about a QFS account, please stop following them because they are bots. They were created by people to get your information to target you when this all goes down. Unless it is a verified account, and this is why I always put my face on camera so you know it's me, because no one can do the facial recognitions that I do. That's the truth. So again, a very friendly reminder, and thank you again to Holly. What a beautiful support show it was the other day. Her and I think,
got 50
did like a show that we don't normally do,
on this one.
but she certainly backed up on certain things and making sure that we understand that there is scammers out there and they are going to come in thick and fast when this actually does occur. So you definitely have to protect yourself in all aspects, darling. But yes, as I always say, take a deep breath. The black card is given to you. I don't like using the black card as an issue, but that happens when you become wealthy. You can't be wealthy and have a black card until there's money in the bank. So sit back, relax, and wait for all that to unfold. So, but very good reminder. Thank you, Isabella. I will be in contact with you sometime after the show. So thanks, darling. Appreciate you. Mrs. C. This lovely lady, ladies and gentlemen, is from South Africa, and she supports all of us in this channel with all of her intel from South Africa. Hello, Mrs. C. How are you, darling? It's going to take a while to come up. Dun, dun, dun. Mrs. C. Breaker, join the live. I love that. Breaker. So, Mrs.
Hello?
C, are you there? Hello, how are you? It does take a while to come through the feed, darling. So, yes. How are you, Mrs. C?
No, I'm fine. You're looking good tonight. Very refreshed.
Yes. I had a good night's sleep, actually. I turned everything off very early last night. As I said, the intel yesterday. Beautiful Kerry Ann is in the house too. I turned everything off early last night, had a very early night, and woke up and the birds were chirping and thought, oh, it's going to be a good day today. So, yes. But, yeah, too much excitement for me last night with all the rumour mill going off its face. But, yeah, so anyway, I couldn't validate any of it. So I said, no intel today, let's just talk to people. So, but so what have you got from us from over in South Africa, my darling? What's been happening over there?
Well, I have sent you a whole lot of stuff. But anyway, you'll look at it when you got chance.
Yes.
Yeah, some good, some bad, some ugly, but yeah, it's all part of the process.
It certainly
But another
is.
thing,
yeah,
you were talking about the gene code and that. I was listening to that the other day also. There was
Yes.
one that I listened to, not yesterday, the day before. But
Yes.
today I picked up on that John Michael Chambers.
Yes.
He had a show on, and he had Bill Barney, and then another guy from his name was Will. He's from one of the gold places. And that day was very, very interesting, especially if you want to let family know. Okay, the beginning wouldn't really mean much to them, but I made a marker, I sent it to the family and put it like at 1 hour, 6 minutes, 1 hour and 6 minutes. And it actually explains quite a bit on there of what's coming up, how to handle it, don't be afraid. Very informative, which is good for the normies kind of thing.
Yes, it is.
As I say, I took the risk of sending it to the family. I haven't seen their responses, but it was very interesting to hear that side of it. Because John Michael Chambers has been on quite a bit with quite a few guests lately, and there's been a lot to pick out
of the things. It makes the whole circle.
It certainly
So, yeah.
does. Well, I've just quickly scrolled through your 20 articles that you brought me through. Wow, wowsy. I'm going to have a quick read and yeah. So, but it's very interesting. No. So I'm going to take, if I'm looking like I'm a bit cross-eyed, is because I'm actually reading articles whilst I'm talking to you. So we talked, it's one of the articles that you sent from, this is really good intel actually. The Reserve Bank again delays payment system access to strengthen the guardrails. Now, that may sound like it's really bad, but that to me, when scrolling through that actual article coming out of South Africa. So here's your intel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mrs. C. Appreciate you. Okay, so the Reserve Bank in South Africa has delayed the payment system. So what they're actually doing there is that they are actually upgrading
I guess we're
and
still
updating.
watching the
So we
movie,
mentioned
Kev.
the other day about how they are doing this transition into the new system. So even though your payments are being delayed, they are strengthening the guardrails and they're guarding against anyone stealing your money. So that's actually a very good intel coming through out of South Africa. There was another article that Mrs. C just sent me regarding the small trading house in Swaziland.
Yep.
So this one, ladies and gentlemen, this is your Standard Bank in African operations have grown from a tiny trading house and into one of the largest in the continent by assets. Now that gives me goosebumps because Standard Bank, as we know, is going to be part of the actual redeeming process in Africa. So very excited about that one. I'm going to send that one out straight away whilst I'm talking to you live on the show. So here's a very interesting point, Mrs. C, that we've got these things coming through from South Africa, and they're also indicators of what is actually going on in the big wide world. So they're sitting on a gold mine. They certainly have 3 billion rand gold mine ready to be tapped into. A South African professor building the fastest internet in the world using quantum technology. Wow. He's good looking too, by the way, Mrs. C, really liking that one. South Africans, here's a really, really interesting intel though. So basically we often hear from other countries such as South Africa and Africa, you know, what's going on, are they ready? And often not just South Africans, but Africans overall are always concerned about, you know, are they ready to RV or how this is going to unfold. That's a brilliant article, building the fastest internet in the world using quantum technology. I do remember that back in the early days, because we used to get all those Nigerians calling us with all those scam calls back in the, 10 years ago or so, they actually started, the quantum technology did start in Nigeria to actually avoid all that corruption as well. So I'm very happy to hear that coming out of South Africa using quantum technology. It means that you're ready. Here's a very interesting one. We were just talking about black cards. Well, South Africans are saying goodbye to bank cards. Now, Mrs. C, while you're on here, can you explain to me because when we talk about bank cards, they have different meanings in different countries. So could you explain to me a bank card? Is it just basically a debit card type situation? If you could explain to people what this one actually means.
It's a debit card.
Yes.
But we've also got our credit cards.
Ah, okay. So that's what that's all about.
So yeah, but basically what's happening is they were pulling back the cash, which we know. They were getting rid of ATMs and stuff like that. Saying no, there's not that much cash going through. There's not this, so they must pull that out. Now when I saw that the other day, I went whippy-doo-dah, because what doesn't have a card?
Yes,
the quantum system. You don't use it. So
That's exactly right. Yeah. So the article reads, at least 4 of South Africa's major banks have recorded continued strong growth in the use of digital wallets and virtual cards. Virtual cards, ladies and gentlemen, you got to get excited about that. So yes, yeah, amen to that. That's a really So who said there was no intel? We got to go into South Africa to get anything. But I think you're going to see in many countries that is actually occurring as well. So it's a great reminder when we put these articles up, although it may be specific for South Africa, ladies and gentlemen, understand this is also for you. Why XRP could replace the petrodollar. Ooh, we've been talking a lot about that. In fact, in the G&D code yesterday, we did touch on the Iran war. And as I said on Holly's show as well, this is to do with the war of words as well as the currencies. This is actually the power of, even though we believe and know that the petrodollar is virtually done, how XRP replaces it. Well, just remember that this is your wholesale CBDC, which is your new central banking distribution, and how and why XRP would replace that petrodollar. It's going to be used when we talk about wholesale CBDCs. We're talking about those trading in between governments and things like that as well. So another fantastic article. The Congo bans dollar cash payments in push. Well, this is very interesting, Mrs. C2, because in the Congo, just as many countries across in Europe and in Asia, they are eliminating cash payments. We used to believe cash was king, but when you understand that cash was, slipped under the table for corruption, I'm going to throw a few things onto bits and pieces and what have you. So please understand that eventually we go to a cashless society. It's not going to be for a few more years yet, but this is certainly in preparation for all of that as well. XRP is better positioned than Bitcoin against quantum attacks. That is so true. And this is why it goes back, Mrs. C, to when we talk about DJT and the Trump corporation having Bitcoin mining in America so that they can certainly control all of that. Africa is now emerging as testing ground for Russia's parallel financial network and tightening the US sanctions. As I said, when we think of Africa, we also think of our Zimbabwe bonds and all of those currencies. I hope you enjoyed, Mrs. C, seeing those Zimbabwe new banknotes coming out as well. That's exciting. That was very interesting.
I still said to Papa, I said, they're going to be so confused with no zeros. I would think I'm poor.
It is, and again, it's we've talked often, and in fact, Militiaman does a great explanation on deleting the zeros as well. And this is what they're doing, and I've said this is why this process is taking a lot longer than what we actually hoped for as well, because they delete the zeros for those citizens. And as I said recently as well, we were talking about. I'm back on camera, so I don't look like I'm looking away from you. We were talking about the Vietnamese dong, and as I explained to people, what happens there is this is for those citizens in those countries to adjust to having those deleted zeros. So that big article from Zimbabwe and their new banknotes, as you said, and it's not just Zimbabwe. Think of all those countries such as Argentina with the pesos and Venezuela's and all those countries with all those hundreds and hundreds of zeros. It is going to be different, and adjustments are being prepared. So as I said, this is a smooth transition. So that article, as I said, regarding the ZIG banknotes are very, very exciting. I was very excited to read those articles. I think I posted 3 of them regarding the same, they're all connecting together. So, but Mr. C, as always, Oh my gosh, here we were. We weren't thinking we were going to have some intel, but we certainly got some from Mrs. C today. And I haven't even gone through the ones for today yet. So I will endeavour to get through them. But Mrs. C, we would all like to say a big thank you to you. As I said, that was just a brief insight of some of the fantastic articles that come out of South Africa. And as I say to people, you know, if you are going to PM me, please send me those articles within your country, because this helps all of us, not just me. I'm just the mouthpiece to bring it to a different perspective. But please know that, Mrs. C, you are well thought of and, well respected in my eyes for everything that you have done for humanity, for South Africa and of Africa. And as I always say, if it's happening there, it's happening everywhere in the world. So,
I was just about to
congratulations.
tell you, just about to say that to you. You always say, if it's happening there, it must be happening everywhere.
Oh, 100%. So I will get through the rest of those articles very, very soon. So people will start to post. We've got 222 participants. Wow, that's a lovely special number to have in the house. Yeah.
Can I just ask you something now?
Yes,
I
you
won't
can.
say I'm
After I give
panicking. I won't say I'm panicking or anything, but we're obviously going to have a stock market crash, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's going to be month, 2, 3, 4 months or whatever? Or do you think it'll be shorter?
Well, again, it goes back to, as I said even on Holly's show, and I've said it a couple of times here, let's watch these markets on the 16th, 17th and 18th, because the restructure or the exchanges that are going to occur in JP Morgan's 14 ETFs being changed over, is that going to be one of those little glitches that causes a crash? So we'll wait and see what's going to happen there. So there's a lot of big things going on in the background that I just need to keep an eye on. But again, sometimes we don't see things for about 2 or 3 days, and then we go, oh, that's what they were doing during that time. But will there be a crash, and when it's going to happen? We'll be excited when it does happen. But as I said, is it going to be a forced one? We will wait and see. So we will wait and see.
But do you think it'll be a long one? It's the length of it that
it's really hard to engage how long is it going to be. Like I said, they keep reminding us that it's a smooth transition. So I would only expect normally a crash happens and then we take advantage of that crash, and hopefully that will be a trigger, as I said, to reevaluate currencies across the world. So look, it could go for 3 days, it could go for 3 weeks. But during that time, you'd want to be, like I said, still staying very close in tune to what is going on around you, because it will certainly create some kind of form of activity. That is for certain. So,
and the transition wouldn't happen before then.
It could happen simultaneously. So we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out.
I want to help my neighbour, but I can't if I got nothing.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. But also remember to help yourself first. Make sure that you and your family are well looked after before that as well. It's like, sitting on the plane thing. You put the mask over yourself first before you help others. And so we'll see how it all goes. But thank you again, Mrs. C, for giving us that fantastic intel. And as I said, I will repost some of that directly after the show. So thank you. So,
all right. Pleasure.
Beautiful. No worries.
I will continue.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Please do. I enjoy your entertainment. I really do. So thank you again to Mrs. C from South Africa and looking after everyone over in Africa. Thank you, darling. God bless. We'll see you very soon. Carrie Anna, you're in the house and you have been released. So Carrie Anna and, who else did I just unleash? can't remember now. It'll pop up in a short minute. So thank you,
Hey,
thank you,
Mel.
thank you to everyone. Hello, there she is. Welcome.
Thank you for having a call. It's always fun to
That's all
hear
good,
your
darling.
voice.
No.
Can you tell or share anything about the Saint Germain Trust, where it is? Is it a forbidden subject to know how it's going, how it's going to be, the SKRs? And
Yeah. Oh, again, like I said, when we talk about different pools of money, this is where it sort of comes from the Saint Germain Trust and the Rodriguez Trust, and there's many different types of trusts. So these things were put in. The SKRs, of course, did come under the umbrella. Some of them did come under the umbrella of Germain Trust. There was rumours, of course, at one stage they were all upset and concerned because they thought that all those funds have gone missing and what have you. No, they were redistributed to assist in this new quantum global system as well. So understand there's many layers to all of those trusts. I'm not just specifically going to talk about the Saint Germain Trust, but it's not forbidden. In fact, I think I did post something to remind people about the trust. I think that came from RV Updates or Wisdom Tree, I think it was, just to remind people. Same with CMKX Diamonds, it comes out of a different trust as well. So that was what the trigger was. So you probably caught up on that,
yeah,
Carriana,
I did. I thought there might be more.
No, there's really nothing more. It's the same with all the CMKXs. But I certainly did post that for a specific reason because, as I said, there's a lot of people that don't know about those trusts. That CMKX Diamonds, of course, was the biggest fraud in the history. So these are just great reminders that this again is why this is taking a little bit longer as well. So, but yeah, thank you for bringing it up because we tend to forget that we have so many people who are just coming in or just awakening to all of this and don't have this full background of understanding. So the news sometimes does feel as though it's repeat, rinse and wash and all that sort of stuff. But again, it is a beautiful reminder that this is when we talk about these different pools of money, that's where they're actually coming from, is from all of those. So when people often ask about CMKX, well, it has its own trust account. Germain Trust has a certain account for certain SKRs, So all of those things are there readily available. But Wisdom Tree have done a marvellous job of coagulating all of that as well. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, honey. So MJC, you were the other one I couldn't think of, and of course, and then we'll get some words out of JR as well. So MJC, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm awesome for listening to you. Whoa, what a powerful voice you have. Wowzy.
Well, I am, well, I'm from the Ohio Valley, so I have a southern and northern slang in between.
I get it. I get it.
But I'm another Melissa, so there you go.
Wait. See, I knew you were powerful. See, I just knew it. Didn't even know your name was Melissa as well. So there you go.
There you go.
The energy and frequencies are really high at the moment. Have you noticed that, honey? That frequencies are really, really high. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. I have a couple of questions actually. I have some of the Iranian currencies, and I know a couple of shows ago that you were talking about the fact that it's illegal for us to have those or to.
No.
And I'm like, oh, then what are we supposed to do with those? Because I'm like,
no. Yeah.
What, and it kind of worries me because I got those from a reputable place, and that's just kind of scary.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look, please. And I'm glad you actually asked the question and just didn't burn them or give them away or anything like that. What we were talking about is that having very large amounts. So we were talking basically about whales who hold pallets of these things. It's actually illegal to own that. For the small amounts that we actually have in this sector for this thing, it's not illegal to hold it in the sense, but those who are exchanges, for instance. Exchanges, it is illegal for them to hold those. For you to hold some, as I said, just do your research in your state, because some states have different legislations, and it's no different to in Africa. In Africa, we have some states where they are not allowed to hold any other foreign currency.
4 eyes.
But it's not to say that you can't hold them. What it is,
we're about halfway, 35 minutes, so we got about 25 minutes left.
Is that as long as you got it from a reputable company, it's not on you then, is it? It's on the company. And we were talking about many, many companies. And again, it could be linked to currencies that came in that were not legit as well. So often when we hear these stories, we have to relay them, but it's not to be fearful of it or get panicky about it. It's not that you've done anything illegal. Just understand the formalities of, if you were asked and you said that you got them from a reputable person, then it won't be an issue. But we were talking to a guy who actually buys and sells currencies for a living, and he was just bringing that to our attention, that technically it's not legal to have it as in thing. But you are holding it for a reason and a purpose. It was gifted to you as well, in the sense that you purchased them to give on to humanity. So it's actually a gift. So for instance, say MJ, it's like in France, for instance, if you were to hold dollars and you had them sitting underneath your mattress and you had a police raid, the police would take all your currencies from underneath your mattress. If you were to hold silver bars, they will take those silver bars. However, if you were to hold silver coins, they don't touch the silver coins because they are a collection or a collectible item. So use your pretty little Melissa brain over that one, is that you purchase them as a collectible item, say, okay? So use that to your advantage, that little bit of information that I've just given you, use that to your advantage, because as I said, we were just relaying from an actual gentleman who is a foreign currency buyer and seller, and he was saying it actually says that it's illegal to hold it. And it's like, oh, did I take a deep breath as well? Because I have to relay those kind of messages, and it's only to trigger you to look into what is and isn't, for you, so to speak. So there's many different layers to it, honey, but don't stress about it. I mean, we don't have, I'm pretty sure you and I don't have pallets of Iranian rial sitting in our back shed.
No.
So.
No. Well, the reason why
it's
I was
not
asking, I have a husband who is semi-awake and he is not fully awake, which he works midnights tonight, and he's not here, so I could actually come in and ask the question.
Oh, that's okay.
He came in last year. He was like, well, we need the money. We need to go see if we can't cash these in. And I went to a bank. I've been to 3 different banks. And the lady looked at me. She goes, oh, yeah, we'll do the currency exchange. She said, what all do you have? And she pulled up every one of my currencies that I had. And I had them with me. And she looked at them. And she said, and she pulled up her screen and showed me her screen and showed me, she said, we can't verify these. She said, because these are all much larger denominations. And the only ones we're showing on our computer, like every country I had, they had like 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, 250s, 500s, and I had the 25,000, the 50,000, and they were not. Yeah. She was saying that they could not verify my currencies because I had such large denominations. So my husband keeps saying, "You're never going to be able to cash those in. They're worthless. You might as well just forget it." And he blowed me off and was just like, "You're wasting your time and you're wasting your money and your breath." So he doesn't believe in it. Yep. And so I'm just like, I can't ever talk whenever he's here.
No, that's quite okay. I totally get it. And as I said, see, that's really good information. That's nothing to be fearful of, again, because as I said, at least they're on your screens in many countries, including Australia. We still don't have the Iraqi dinar on our screens.
Yeah, she didn't have the Iraqi dinar on the screen. She said she couldn't even take that one, but she had all the others, and all the others were larger denominations. And she even told me, she said, well, maybe you could take this to a collector, and maybe the collector will buy it off from you. And I was like, okay. I said, well, it's just not time. I will wait. And I just walked out. But it really turned my husband against it.
Again, like I said, it's also something that occurred to me this morning is just to remind ourselves that private exchanges are last.
Yeah.
That's in the Q post. Private exchanges are last. And as I said, this is why we have what we call separate redemption centers to banks, because as I said, what can be validated and verified right now does not mean that it is going to be that the way that you think it's going to be. And this is perfect. I don't get upset about things like this. I get very excited because you've taken the time to go and actually ask someone, and they said, oh, these are too big for us to exchange.
Yeah, they did. That's what it made me excited, because I seen that every country I had already redenominated and had smaller dollars, which told me that it was already completed. We're just waiting.
Excellent. So let's go here. Let's go from here now to what I was just talking about with Mrs. C, with the new Zig banknotes reducing their zeros down.
Yes.
Do you see where I'm going with that? That is very exciting. This is why when I talk about the Zimbabwe bonds, is that they are going to be slightly different, because they will be classed as a bond, therefore on the bond platform, whereas the currencies will be then technically swapped for those smaller denominations based upon that is a revaluation, by the way, just so you understand that, ladies and gentlemen. So when they change the banknotes from one to another, that's actually the start of this revaluation. Get very, very, very excited. So what you've just explained is exactly what I want to hear, is that they're taking in your notes, and this is what I've said about the Iraqi dinar. Are they going to, in certain countries, even say in Australia and in the US, are they just going to peg that to the Kuwaiti dinar, which is on the screen? Does that make sense? Because it's still a dinar.
Yes.
It's still a dinar.
It does make complete sense, because they're going to peg it to something that's already on the screen for us to see.
Exactly. And doesn't that make logical sense? So, girlfriend, you have just opened up another world for everybody here on the show. Wowsy. Thank you so, so much for doing that and sharing that, because I can say these things and people can't visually see it until they hear some story like that you've just shared, that you've gone in, but the denominations are too high. So these denominations will, as I said, will revalue to those new ones that are coming up on the screen. And then they will be, of course, as I said, this is part of that revaluation. So I'm very, very excited. When I saw the Zig banknotes being altered and changed, oh, that's the start of the RV, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm very, very excited about that. And it's a fantastic story.
One of the banks was asking me questions, and the gentleman said, do you have hard cash? And I said, yes. And he asked me where I got them. It was kind of like he was trying to fill me out. And I explained to him, where I'd gotten them and they were reputable places and they're legitimate currencies. And he just looked at me and he said, you do know it's going to be digital, right? And I looked at him and smiled real big, and I said, yes.
19 minutes, guys.
Absolutely.
19 minutes.
And
it was one of those moments where I was like, thank you, Jesus.
Absolutely. And it was just like what Mrs. C said from South Africa, having these bank cards disappear is exciting, because it is going to be digital. They will automatically digitally put that straight into your account. Boom shakalaka. Then you become a private client. That gives you the access that you need then to go and speak to those managers up there in those 17th floor buildings and rah, 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 rah. Then you get allocated those private wealth managers. So this is what I'm excited about to hear. Your story is probably the biggest story of the week so
What
far,
do you guys think of
girlfriend.
that
So
story?
thank you for husband for being away at work. We love you as well. We will continue
That's
to love
funny.
you. And that you had the opportunity to share that story because, the RV, as I said, is fluid. It is happening. We're seeing it. And so the story is definitely unfolding today. By golly gee, I was only going to
Now,
answer 5 questions today.
it was
So, yeah.
before the holidays was the last time I went into one of the banks. And it was last year because my husband was being very impatient because he doesn't understand that I went and the bank told me that. So it's been a while. I've just kind of sit on it and not really said anything to anybody because I was just like, well, it was just my own little thing that happened and I just didn't. It is what it is.
It is what it is, honey, and you're not alone in that message as well. So that, wowzing.
Yeah.
Thank you
Well,
so
when
much for sharing that, MJC. That's beautiful.
Well, when it's time to go to the bank, I will be leaving my husband at home and going by myself.
Oh, bless your girlfriend. I love that. You do you. You do what is best for you. So,
Well, we've been married since our high school years, and
Oh,
we've been
husband,
together for
sweetheart.
34 years, and it's just like, yeah.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations to you. What a beautiful wedding gift, a new wedding that should happen after that happens, that's for sure. So love always conquers all, doesn't it, in a situation like that? But thank you so much for sharing that story. Oh, you've made my day. You've made my week, girlfriend. So that is a very fluid story, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic.
I'm glad I could share it finally, and somebody could answer my questions and my concerns.
Too easy.
You have a wonderful evening.
You too, baby. Oh, absolutely. JR, and then we'll go to Palencia. JR, how are you, doll?
Good. How are you doing?
I am. Did you get excited about that story and all the stuff out of South Africa? It is exciting, 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 champion. Wow.
Did you check the direct message I sent you?
No, I haven't yet. I better go do that.
The SEC has officially approved the tokenized securities trading on NASDAQ.
Oh, they did they really? And now what was Mel talking about a week or so ago, JR?
Yep.
About the NASDAQ and everything else? Oh, mate, I am pumped, baby. I am so pumped now. Wowzing.
And Watcher Guru dropped X just launched their stocks and crypto app. Financial app is like right behind it. And I shared that to you too. That just launched today.
There you go. And I've been packing today because I'm traveling for work and all sorts of bits and pieces. And I have not seen that. So that's why I just thought it'd be easier for me to do a Q&A. But JR, isn't that a fantastic confirmation of all the work?
Huge.
It's huge. This is a confirmation I was just talking about a bit earlier in the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is a boom shakalaka moment. This is the best hour of entertainment you're going to hear for the rest of the week. This is exciting, exciting, exciting. JR, I appreciate you, mate. I appreciate you more than you know. Wow.
Well, you're in one of the channels, the private channels that I'm in. I think I don't know if you go in there and check it. That's where I drop a lot of RD intel, let alone intel that's connected to the actual RV. Like, I mean, everything is like, I've been saying this like for the last 5-6 years when I've got hardcore into the currency side. This whole thing is event driven, and every time something publicly happens, like we're talking arrests or distractions, like the war, every time something like it happens in the public, the RV moves those 1 or 2 steps and then another couple more steps, and we're now at a process that things are starting to get bigger in the public as the potential arrests, people that are under indictments, people being brought forward. So we're getting so close. It's because the larger that's getting, the bigger the RV things that are happening in the background that are starting to become public as well. At this point, it's just I see like the thing just snowballing quicker and quicker and quicker. Yeah. So, and yeah, I'll tell you about more about the black card and stuff like that. I'll let you kind of.
Yeah. Listen, it's exactly like I said. Now, I did that Holly show last Friday, JR. So just to give you a bit of a timing on situation on that. So I did that actually last Friday. Yeah. So that was actually last Friday. So that was about 4 or 5 days old by the time it actually came out. And so, you know, we were talking about exactly what you just said. This is a huge cog. It is a global event, but we are now hitting notches. We've never, as you know, JR, we have never hit notches like we are hitting them now. So the notches are actually clicking in on this big wheel. And as those notches start to click, this will be very, very slow release, but it is, and as I said about the ZIB notes, they are actually, that's part of the revaluation. So understand that. So.
Yeah. So going on with the black card, I actually, we're talking the American Express black card. I actually know 6 people directly that actually have a black card that is, and it's rare to run into one, but I've been around a lot of high financial, like high wealth people. And the actual black cards that you would get from American Express, you don't get one. You basically, it's more of a, you get awarded to have one, and it's unique in that way where it's when you meet there's certain criteria and they see you on the radar, and you've got to spend bare minimal $1 million a year to keep it. Yeah, so it's not and it's funny, like, and the most elite card out there right now, the like for like being a card of like of the upper echelon, because that's what it's a status symbol.
Of course,
but the most one that everybody wants is the Dubai one that I've heard that is the card to have.
D card, yeah. It's actually made of metal as well. It's actually got palladium in it, I think.
Yeah,
platinum and palladium, I think it's made out of. And it's really interesting, just a fun story. Many, many years ago, this guy pulled out this black card. And wasn't until many years later I go, oh, maybe I should have hooked onto him a little bit more.
Well, it's funny because I've gone out drinking with these guys, and
10 minutes, guys.
And it's so funny when they drop that card.
I'm gonna try to go another half hour.
Like, you know, because it's a metal card. When you drop it on a bar,
it actually,
it's like the whole bar, literally, their heads go.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like a plastic card. It's like.
Well, and the comical thing too is that it's how people react to it, because if you're waiting in lines and some VIP events and you pull out that card, boy, they literally kind of push people aside and like, come on in.
Yeah, they suck onto you like a leech, don't they? It's like,
because they know they know that you're going to be spending large, so it's hilarious. And going on with the worry about the financial side, I mean, for everything that I've seen, because I've been around the banking side with some high level bankers and understand that and what I'm seeing with the crypto side and everything. Once we flip to the officially onto the crypto side of it all, this financial crimes and everything, we're not going to have to stress about it as much, because due to the fact that, say if I got robbed or somebody somehow hacked into my device and gets my money, because it's all digital, like we all know, and I know you know, that we're going to be about a year to 2 or 3 years that every nickel, dime, and penny that gets moved. So if somebody steals $10,000 from me and it hits to Bob, and Bob turns around and then he parts it off to all of his little minions that he has, yeah, every single one of them, they will be all caught, and being the fact is that money, as fast as it leaves, once it's reported and found out, they will pull that money all back and retrieve it at the same time as the arrest warrants will be hitting the whatever country that it is stolen to. So when we get on the flip side of being we're officially publicly, it's already happening now. All the financial crimes like the Cent and Doge is catching every nickel and dime and penny as get moved around the world, but it's just it's our personal selves. We can be confident knowing that when we get on the flip side of being officially digitized, we won't have to worry about this financial crime as much, because again, we make one phone call that for some reason money went missing out of our accounts, and that bank could literally hit that button and be able to pull that money back, let alone the arrest warrants that we're going out for those guys. It'll be happening so quick their head will spin, because it'd be no different than like China, because China has their whole system is set up that if you jaywalk across the street, by the time you step off the curb and get to the other side, they've already pulled the money out of your account. So that's when people have to not stress as much what that part's coming, right?
Exactly right, and it's a good point to make too, because as I said, everything that's happened to many people about their XRP and XLM being stolen as they, change from their Nano into their other accounts and things like that as well. Have comfort in knowing exactly what JR has said. Although it is stressful at the time, and I've had to cope with that myself, when you have nothing, it's very, very difficult. You cannot not stress about it because it is stressful. But know that the cup will be refilled and you will have a full cup once this is all sorted. And it was said to me once when I was being, when I actually made a case on the actual characterization of what happened with me, they all said that, they said to me that understand that these people will be found and they will be dealt with accordingly. So JR, thank you so much for that little reminder as well. That
you're welcome.
I had to find comfort in that too, and people are still getting scammed, and it is stressful. But know that at the end of the day, as what JR has just stated, when this happens, it's all good. Yeah,
and that's what I mean is everybody that had XRP stolen, everybody that had these incidents happen. If you have all the documentation, there's a big chance that you will get that money back. I mean, that's what I feel. I've over the years when I was speaking a lot, I mean, I ran into that so many people that got taken advantage of or ripped off, and then they could feel confident that there's. I mean, especially if you've got the documentation, let alone you have all the evidence that every little piece of paper, every little kernel that you have. You can state your case, and I would not be surprised that you will be able to receive that back. I mean, that's what I feel and what I see and what I understand on the financial sides. I mean, I'm seeing it through credit unions and banks. Or the digitization it's been implemented. Like we're talking, the amount of implementations I've been seeing, especially in the last 6 months to a year, it's like getting faster and faster. Everybody's like officially announcing they're digitized. So we're in exciting times.
Oh, 100%. Like I said, to hear those stories that we've had today, here I was thinking there wasn't going to be much to talk about today, and all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. It is looking exceptional, and thank you again for joining us here, JR. It is absolutely wonderful. So yeah,
anytime, Al.
And I must give JT Trump-tastic a shout out too. He's been in the background. He has been an advocate of mine for many, many years. And so yeah,
that's where you're finding my stuff.
That's where I'm finding my stuff. Yeah. So I'm gonna say a big hello to him as well, because as I said, it took him a while to get to 100 members, and then I saw you posting in there, and I thought, yeah, give credit where credit is due, and he does an amazing job, and he's worked hard. He's had his own issues too. I remember him coming up on one of my Q&As very early on, talking to me about when his actual RV got burnt and he lost all his currencies and stuff. And so yeah, he's done it tough too. And so a little shout out there for him as well, because yeah, he's a great guy. He's a real genuine soul as well.
Yeah,
so
I speak to him. He messaged me out of the blue. He found me. I don't know. He found me through whatever channel, and he wanted me to join the channel. And I was kind of like, because I've built so many channels over the years and been involved with so many channels, and every channel tends to be more have different politics and let alone egos, and I cringe when I get involved because I try to help out and do what I do, what you do, but not to your level. But I've built channels that were maybe a couple thousand to 8,000 to 10,000 people in a matter of like a year or two, and then of course all the egos, and I'm just like, I can't do it anymore. I don't know how you do it, girl, but I mean kudos to you. I'm very proud of you, and I'm glad you're doing so well, and I'm glad you're surviving, and we're so damn close, and I'm looking forward to it for all of us in the finish line.
100%, and please send him a message that I said hello to him as well. Appreciate you, and
I drop all your stuff in his channel every time you do a podcast. I always drop it into all these channels. Yeah, awesome. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, you take care, Mel. Bye.
You too, champion of all champions, and Placinia, I think it is. Hello, darling. How are you?
Last caller, I think, or.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I am talking to you. How are you, Sunshine? Palencia. I did get it right the first time. I should have gone with what I said the first time. So, yeah, I'm excellent. All the better for you. You're the lucky last for the day. So sorry, all for Truth and Betty. You're the last, lucky last.
Okay.
So you better give me something good, yeah.
I didn't expect to get called on tonight. The only thing I was came to mind is that. In doing some research, as we all do, I remember reading somewhere in the past that for the Kuwaiti change back in the 90s, they waited literally they said it wasn't going to be done until literally the day before they did it. So it was a big secret for the entire time until literally the last minute.
And then it went boom, yeah. So.
That's it.
It is. That's it. Oh, that's okay. That's perfect. And as I said, no, that's it. He says, no, that is always brilliant to hear those things as well, because as I said, it is a great reminder that when this cog starts to actually kick into gear, I think the reason it's so different, often they do refer to that revaluation in Kuwait back in 96, I think it was 96, 97. Things have changed, and I've got to go back. I've said it a couple of times. I must do. They use the Kuwaiti dinar. There's documentations that actually state that for a global currency reset to occur, they use the Kuwaiti dinar structure of how they actually revalued as a guideline to where we are now.
Right.
There's actually documentation on that. It's very difficult to find. But once I get my hard drive, hopefully my hard drive arrives today. I've never had a hard drive, so it's kind of like a real virgin thing for me. So I'm hoping I can download everything from my saved messages, because I've got like 67 or 127,000 articles in my saved messages. And this is why the tablet's not coping anymore. It's had enough. So hopefully when I find that, I will actually, I've said it a couple of times, I must explain to people. We can look at the Kuwaiti dinar as a guideline, but not to be saying that it's going to happen overnight, because as I just said, the Zimbabwe note changes are already happening. That is your revaluation right there. So it is good. It gets us excited. Yes, it does. But understand that it's a different kettle of fish this time around, because we've had technology change. We've had upgrades into our quantum system. But there is actually an article. It's about 4 or 5 pages, not very long, of how they used and what they did wrong, so to speak, and what they would do differently. So it's a very good article. So if I do come across it, I certainly will be sharing that. But thank you very much, Champion, for that. And it was just lovely to hear your voice. So don't be frightened.
Nice to hear from you too.
That's all good, honey. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is on the hour, and so we do have a few things on today. So I do want to send out some very special prayers. We've just lost another young boy today who took his own life, and it always breaks my heart when I hear stories like that. So if you are struggling out there, know that you are well thought of, you are cared for, and that all my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone who is not feeling very well, whether that be physically or mentally or emotionally. Know that you are in a safe place, you are here, and my thoughts and prayers go to everyone today as we move into this very special time in our lives. It is going to be a new journey. It is going to be a new world, ladies and gentlemen. But for now, it is a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a good night from me. We'll see you all on the flip side.
Wow. I'm lucky I found that one, Oz. I found it on someone else's channel, that Melanie. Okay. We'll get back to the short ones for a bit. We're not at the 3-hour mark yet, so it's just about top of the hour. So we'll continue. And I got 3 good ones, our favorites, but not the one from one of our good favorites. But we got, I'll surprise you. This is a 4-minute one.
But I'm pissed the hell off. They are trying to kill President Trump again. They are trying to kill this man again. But I want to know, how in the hell did somebody get a gun in the freaking building? It don't make no damn sense. How did somebody get a gun inside the building? At the White House Correspondents' Dinner, please explain to me. How did that happen? Huh? Secret Service got some explaining to do. Yeah, they got some explaining to do. The FBI got some freaking explaining to do. Somebody better come up with a good answer. But you know what? There's no good answer. There is no good answer at all. No one should have been able to get in the freaking building with the president of the United States of America with a fucking gun. I'm just saying. Excuse my language, but I'm pissed the hell off. How in the world did this happen? There have been several attempts on Trump's life, and you mean to tell me somebody got in the building with a gun? It just don't make no sense.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I am literally scared for President Trump and his family. They will not stop. Somebody is trying to get this man killed. And they will not stop. We need to find out who is behind trying to get the president killed. And I know the Democrats got something to do with it, but I do want to know, how in the world did somebody get into the building with a gun? How? I've been to the White House before. I've been to events with President Trump. And and they made it impossible for anybody to get in the building with a gun. So how did it happen? How? And you know who else I blame? The Democrats. They are constantly putting the target on Trump's back with their freaking lies saying, oh, he's a threat to humanity and he's a threat to democracy. They keep lying and saying that he's trying to get everybody in America killed. They keep lying, saying that Trump is going to put people in concentration camps. They keep lying and saying he's going to sacrifice the American people. They keep lying, saying that he is a danger to all Americans. They keep putting a target on his back. But I'm starting to think there are some Republicans in on it. I'm starting to think that there are some Republicans that want him dead too. And they are teaming up with the Democrats. That's what I'm starting to think. But we all need to keep asking, how did somebody get a gun in the building? God bless President Trump. This man is continuing. He has put his life on the line for this country. And I'm going to tell you right now, he's better than me. I would have been gone. I would have been done. So I thank President Trump.
Welcome to Wix Harmony. Take the speed of AI and pixel level control.
This is a Fox News alert.
Well, that's all it ended on that one. That one just came out, you guys. Okay, let's go here. What we got?
Admitting Donald Trump is right. Jake Tapper took on a Democrat congresswoman over the government shutdown and didn't just expose the party's ridiculous lies, he humiliated her in the process. She gets so flustered, her hand gestures start staging a rebellion, while Tapper just keeps landing punch after punch like a pro. Then Casey Hunt, she jumps in, joining the fight for journalistic integrity, calling out a Democrat senator for not practicing what he preached 5 minutes before the show. And then I have a few glorious clips for you later in the show. President Trump, he was just crowned king. Did you see this? No joke. And wait until you see how the liberals are reacting. It is some of the most glorious clips I've had for you in a while. As always, like the video and let's make this fun. I'm going to start a little game in the comments. Guess the date that you think this government shutdown is finally going to end. I will personally give a shout out to the winners when the circus is officially over. My prediction? I'm going to go with Thursday, November 6th. So mark your calendars and may the odds be in your favor. Now, the Democrat Party right now, they're a 5-alarm dumpster fire of failed policies, worse optics, and zero self-awareness. Their poll numbers, they're dropping faster than Biden on a bike. And their grip on reality, it's not far behind. They have lost independence, they've lost credibility, and now even their favorite PR firm, the mainstream media, they're jumping ship. CNN's Jake Tapper practically went 12 rounds with New Mexico Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury over who's to blame for the government shutdown. Pay attention to the Congresswoman's hand gestures because she makes Gavin Newsom look tranquilized. Roll it.
Should the Democratic senators from New Mexico, your home state, vote to open the government so that these SNAP funds are not at risk?
Let me be clear. The administration is choosing to starve American children with money that they already have appropriated.
I'm not applauding their
tactics.
The
White House.
Well,
this is a choice by the White House.
This
They
is
are
also,
choosing
Congresswoman,
to
this
cut
is
off
also a
food
choice
assistance.
by Senate Democrats
No,
to not
it is
vote to
not.
open the government. Yes, it is. I understand
Senate-
why they're doing it. They're doing it because they want Medicaid funds restored. They're doing it because they want Obamacare premiums to be extended past the end of the year. I understand the reasoning.
Sir, let me just be clear. The money for contingency plans is sitting there. That is why the states are suing. The White House is withholding funds from
2 to 3
children
weeks worth
to
of
have
SNAP funds.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it may not be a big deal to you, but let me
It is
tell
a
you
big
that
deal to
for
me.
the grandparents, for
It is a
grandparents
big deal to
that
me.
literally are feeding their children,
My point
to
is that
not
it's a
have
short-term
money
solution.
in those accounts.
It's a short-term.
Matter. At the end of the day, people need to be able to feed their families, and Saturday is when those funds
If you
run
feel
out,
so
and we are
strongly,
fighting to
Congresswoman,
get
why
that
not ask
funding.
the Senate Democrats from New Mexico to vote to open the government so that the SNAP funds.
Sir, I am here in the House of Representatives. It is shut down. I am fighting to get the government reopened. I am fighting to get funding put back into SNAP that is already existent, and I am fighting for the American people.
Good for Jake. That is how journalism is done. And for the Congresswoman, no. Let me be clear. House Republicans, they already did their job. They passed the bill to fund the government. The only people that are still pretending this shutdown is the GOP's fault are you and your Senate buddies, including the one whose hair looks like it was dyed by a toddler with a juice box that has a grudge.
There's nothing stopping the Trump administration from making sure that every single one of the 42
miracle amount.
Okay, first one with her. Okay, we're going to do part. Okay, 2 parts. Part 1.
A pump pulling water from the ground, and not one single wire running back to the utility pole. No bill, no meter, no monthly dread, and the whole thing runs on a trick that costs about $4 in copper wire.
Yep, that's
I am going to tell you exactly what that trick is. I am going to show you how an Amish bishop in Holmes County, Ohio, first showed it to me in 2009, and why the power companies have quietly lobbied against it in 7 states since the Rural Electrification Act of 1936. This is not a solar panel. This is not a generator. This is a piece of copper wire, a small iron core the size of a soup can, and one diagram that sat in every high school shop textbook in America until 1961. Then the diagram was gone. The first time I walked into one of these homes near Millersburg, I spent 20 minutes looking for the thermostat. There was no thermostat. There was no breaker panel. There was a small cedar box on the wall with a copper coil inside it, and that box was doing the work of everything I was paying $340 a month to run. And before you say this only works if you are building a new cabin in the woods, stop. I installed the same principle in a 1956 ranch house in Pennsylvania last spring. The electric bill dropped from $291 to $28 in the first full month. The house did not change. The wiring did not change. One small thing changed, and I am going to walk you through every step. Now let me back up, because if you are like me, you have heard 1,000 promises about cutting your power bill, and most of them end with a $4,000 solar quote and a payment plan that outlasts your roof. This is not that. What the Amish figured out, or really what they preserved from an earlier time, is that the average American home is wasting somewhere between 70 and 90% of the electricity it pays for, and almost none of that waste happens at the appliance. It happens in the wire itself. It happens in the way current travels from your panel to your outlets, and in the way your house either captures or bleeds the small magnetic fields that form around every loop of energized copper. I did not believe this at first either. I grew up being told electricity is electricity, a watt is a watt, and the only way to use less is to turn things off. That is what the utility wants you to believe, because that belief keeps the meter spinning. But there is an older understanding, one that goes back to the 1890s, back to the work of a man named Charles Proteus Steinmetz at General Electric, who wrote in 1897 that the majority of household current is lost not to the appliance, but to what he called reactive circulation. Steinmetz was the chief engineer at GE. He was not a fringe figure. He published his findings in a book called Theory and Calculation of Alternating Current Phenomena, and that book was standard reading in every electrical engineering program in America until it was quietly dropped from curriculums after the 1954 Federal Power Commission restructuring. You can still find copies on university archives. I have one sitting on my desk right now. Page 211 is where it starts to get interesting. Steinmetz proved that a properly wound and grounded coil placed in the right location in a home circuit would cancel out the reactive load and force the actual working current to do 90% more usable work for the same amount of power draw. He called this a compensation coil. In 1903, the compensation coil was included in the Sears Roebuck Homesteader catalog as a standard accessory, priced at $1.15. By 1938, after the Rural Electrification Administration was formed, it was removed from every catalog in America. Not banned, just removed. Because a home with a compensation coil does not generate the kind of kilowatt-hour readings the REA needed to justify its loan repayments to the federal government. The Amish communities around Lancaster County and Holmes County never threw these coils out. When the rest of the country was signing onto the grid, the Amish were politely declining the service, and the knowledge of how to wind a compensation coil stayed in their families. Bishop Eli Hostetler showed me the first one I ever held. It was wrapped in wax cloth in a drawer under his workbench. He told me his grandfather had shown it to his father in 1921, and it had run the lighting, the small water pump, and the cream separator in their dairy barn for 6 decades on nothing more than a small wind charger and a 12-volt battery bank the size of a suitcase. So here is what the wire actually does, and why $4 of copper can do what a $4,000 solar system pretends to do. Every appliance in your
Okay, part 2. Important clips here on your electric bill.
power, and there's a second part that cycles back and forth in
What do
the
you think,
wires without
Triangle
doing any
Dipwad?
work at all. That second part is called reactive power, and your electric meter charges you for it anyway, even though you never use it. In a typical American home built after 1960, reactive power accounts for somewhere between 65 and 85% of your total bill. You are paying for electricity that never warmed your coffee, never lit your lamp, never ran your refrigerator. It just went back and forth in the copper and disappeared into the ground. A compensation coil is a loop of copper wire, usually about 14 gauge, wound around a laminated iron core roughly the size of a soup can. You need about 18 feet of copper, which at current prices runs you somewhere between $3.90 and $4.30 at any hardware store. You need a small iron core, which you can pull out of any old transformer, an old microwave, or buy for $2 at a salvage yard. You wind the copper around the iron in a specific pattern, 200 turns clockwise, then 50 turns counterclockwise at the end, and you connect the two leads to the neutral and ground bars inside a junction box near your main panel. That is it. That is the whole device. When energized current from the grid passes through the vicinity of this coil, the coil generates a small opposing magnetic field that pushes the reactive portion of the current back into useful alignment with the working portion. The meter sees less total draw. The appliances receive cleaner, more efficient current, and every light bulb, every motor, every heating element in your house begins doing what it was actually designed to do, instead of fighting against wasted cycles. I know how this sounds. I sounded the same way when Eli first explained it to me. I went home and called an electrician friend in Harrisburg and asked him if any of this was true. He laughed, then he got quiet, then he said yes. Every commercial building in America, larger than about 20,000 square feet, has a compensation system exactly like this one built into its electrical room. It is called power factor correction, and it is mandatory for industrial customers because the utilities charge them an extra fee if their power factor drops below 92%. But residential customers are never told about it. Residential customers are billed on total apparent power, reactive load included, and the utilities have no incentive to explain any of this to the man writing the check. Now, if you already own a house and you are thinking this only applies to people building from scratch, stay with me, because this next part is specifically for you. I have installed this system in 7 different existing homes over the last 4 years. The oldest was a 1,923 farmhouse in central Indiana with knob and tube wiring in the attic. The newest was a 1,998 split level in northern Ohio. In every single one of them, the installation took less than 90 minutes and required no permits, no inspection, no contractor, and no modification to the existing wiring whatsoever. You are not cutting into your walls, you are not rewiring your house, you are adding one small device to a junction box that already exists near your main panel. Here is exactly what you do. Turn off the main breaker. Open the junction box closest to your main panel, which in most homes built before 1980 is either in the basement, within 6 feet of the meter, or in a utility closet on the ground floor. Identify the neutral bus bar and the ground bus bar. These are the 2 thick strips of metal where all the white wires and all the bare copper wires are attached. Take your compensation coil, which you have already wound with the 18 feet of 14 gauge copper around the iron core, and connect one lead to an unused lug on the neutral bar and the other lead to an unused lug on the ground bar. Tuck the coil itself into the bottom of the junction box. Close the box. Turn the main breaker back on. You are done. The first time you do this, walk to your refrigerator. Put your hand on the side of the compressor housing. In a normal home, that housing vibrates with a low buzz that you have heard your entire life without ever really noticing. Within about 90 seconds of the coil being active, that buzz changes pitch. It becomes smoother, quieter, almost silent. That is the sound of reactive power finally canceling out. That is the sound of your refrigerator running the way its engineers designed it to run. Instead of fighting against the dirty current, your utility has been pumping into your house for decades. In the 1956
Okay, that was something about the electric bill. Interesting. Trump fell down there, Lucy, right there, the one I was telling you about.
Asked me, who do I pray to? I'm sure you see all over TikTok, there are a ton of videos out there talking about God, Jesus, Yahusha, Yahshua, Yahweh. You know, I do not get on and make religious videos. I'll answer this person's question on who I pray to. I believe Yahweh is our creator, and his son is Yahusha or Yahshua. And when I speak to them, I breathe in the first half of their name. I exhale the second half of their name. I breathe them into me, whether I'm talking to Yahusha or I'm talking to Yahweh. I believe that is the Son and that is the Creator, his Father. I'm not going to get on and tell people that they should not be praying to God or Jesus. I did for many, many years until I started doing research and going way back in the really old Bibles. And you can get a Bible written in Hebrew and have it translated yourself and compare the King James Version, the New Testament. Like, there's so much that has been changed up over the years. I believe it's intentional to steer us away from our Creator. So I am not going to tell anybody who to pray to. You pray to who you want to, and I can only hope for you find the truth out before it's your time. We'll all meet the Creator. You know, I'm not going to say there's no right or wrong, because personally, if you know their real names, you want to speak to them in their real names. Not say, well, I've been brainwashed or I've been taught my whole life that it's this. And I know it's been changed up in the letter J and the this and the that. You know, learn their real names and speak to them in their real names. And you should have goosebumps all throughout your body when you're praying to either one of them, which you should be praying to the Son, Yahusha, Yahshua. You should feel it in your soul, a sense of peace. And if you don't, do some more research. Do some more research and find out what their real names are, and pray to them in their real names. Do not be deceived anymore. Do not let the brainwashing, indoctrination steer you further away in praying in somebody else's name. Okay? Pray to who you want. I'm just giving you advice. I don't get on here and argue with religion. I don't do it. You pray to who you want, but I was answering that person's question. And I have been seeing a lot of videos on that lately also at the same time. And I'm thinking to myself, people don't want to do the research. They don't want to take the time to do research and go way back and dig, and then you'll know the truth. And it really makes a big difference on who you're praying to. And when you speak his name, breathe it in, breathe it out. There's a huge difference. Anyways, have a great day. Be back later. So somebody.
Okay, our other lady there, the latest. Okay, see where I'm at down here. I don't think we did these ones, did we, you guys?
And that's what we're doing this week. I spent my career at the CIA and NSA and also advised other intelligence agencies. I now have my own corporate intelligence firm. All of these opinions are my own. This analysis is my own for entertainment purposes only. I will be writing the entire deep dive of this because it is crazy on my Substack. So head over there. The link is in my bio. I appreciate you all so much. Let's get into Miss Kirk. About a week or two ago, I did a post on how VanceKirk2028.com was purchased 2 days after Charlie Kirk's assassination. A lot of people knew that. But what I found even weirder was that exact same term, VanceKirk2028.com, was looked at in Arizona and in the blue and white country months leading up to Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I thought that was strange. So can someone please explain to me but why Erica Kirk, vice president, which is the exact term that I put in here, was searched in April in Arizona? Erica Kirk, vice president. So for everyone saying, well, it could have meant Charlie Kirk. No. I never thought it did. This looked like a plan all along. So in April, somebody, not just once, not just twice, but a bunch of times, looked up Erica Kirk, vice president on Google. Over here to the right is after he was assassinated. Makes a little more sense. But in April, can you imagine her sitting around and being like, Erica Kirk, vice president? Better way for an Aries to celebrate their birthday than lighting shit on fire. And that's what we're doing this week. I spent my career at the CIA and NSA and also advised other intelligence agencies. I now have my own corporate intelligence firm. All of these opinions are my own. This analysis is my own for entertainment purposes only. I will be writing the entire deep dive of this because it is crazy on my Substack. So head over there. The link is in my bio. I appreciate you all so much. Let's get into Miss Kirk. About a week or two ago, I did a post on how VanceKirk2028.com was purchased 2 days after Charlie Kirk's assassination. A lot of people knew that. But what I found even weirder was that exact same term, VanceKirk2028.com, was looked at in Arizona and in the blue and white country months leading up to Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I thought that was strange. So can someone please explain to me but why Erica Kirk, vice president, which is the exact term that I put in here, was searched in April in Arizona? Erica Kirk, vice president. So for everyone saying, well, it could have meant Charlie Kirk. No. I never thought it did. This looked like a plan all along. So in April, somebody, not just once, not just twice, but a bunch of times, looked up Erica Kirk, vice president on Google. Over here to the right is after he was assassinated. Makes a little more sense. Guys. But in April, can you imagine her sitting around and being like, Erica Kirk, vice president? Better way for an Aries to celebrate.
Couple more here. Where is that one I have? Oh, well, we'll play this one and then get one more.
Character death. No one died. They killed off a character, and I'm going to prove it to you. What was Chuck Norris really known for? Karate. Well, you want to see something interesting?
That's right. Karate, boy, there's a sport with more power. Oh.
You remember that guy, Tim the Toolman Taylor, otherwise known as Tim Allen? Well, you should look at something. You see, once a character gets stale, like old, and you're a karate guy and no one wants to watch you anymore, they kill him off. And what do I always say? That these fallen angels bring their wives with them. Well, boy, these mouths sure look the same, and that nose sure looks the exact same, and the symmetry's the same, the chin's the same. I would say that's the same face. And oh, it's Tim Allen's wife. And oh, it's Chuck Norris's wife. You know, Tim Allen and Chuck Norris, who just happen to fit so perfectly. What an amazing coincidence, as that always seems to happen, that the wives look so much alike, and then the faces are perfectly symmetrical too. Even the wives and their exact noses. Oh, and remember that fun movie that Tim Allen did, The Santa Claus? I think maybe Chucky Baby here is trying to tell us something. Just like I wonder if he's trying to tell us anything here. And if you don't know what those mean, you got a lot of research to do, my friends. But sure, they're not the same entity, who I used to think was putting on prosthetics and masks, but I've proven over and over again that they're shapeshifters. They can look different like that. They always have the same wives, and they always tell us the truth right in plain sight. Sometimes just with a little duality, kind of like the duality of black and white. What was he really good at again? Oh yeah, karate.
Well, I think there's one thing that you should. You said enough. Well, you should know. It's my show. It's my show. I can do this. I was going to say I have studied karate.
Oh, and this isn't the first time he's killed off one of his characters. You ever heard of the musician Marty Robbins? Yeah, sure, that's not Tim the Toolman Taylor. Just like I'm sure like them having a reoccurring character named Marty in the show Home Improvement was nothing either. Just coincidence. Now it's time for all you sleeping beauties out there who watch this and can't even begin to understand it to start peeling back the layers of the matrix that they have surrounded you on. It's a false reality. Everyone you see on the TV is just like this. Every last one. Of course, this is all for entertainment purposes. I don't really care about liberating humanity from these fallen angels' deceptions that have been going on for millennia. Entertainment only, people. Oh, an amazing shout out to my subscriber, Paula, who first recognized that and shared it with me. And if you have things you recognize and you want to show them to me, consider subscribing. There's also an amazing community of open-minded, beautiful souls. Have a lovely day.
Okay, our last one here, you guys. I'll be back at 6 o'clock. Oh. Big show today on the first one.
He was then killed. Erica Kirk was then announced as the CEO within a week. This never happened. I appointed myself head of Doge to figure out what would they have found if they actually did this audit. And it's a lot, and it's dark. Welcome to my TPUSA Follow the Money Deep Dive series. I spent my career at the CIA and NSA and also advised other intelligence agencies. I now have my own corporate intelligence firm. All of these opinions are my own. This analysis is my own for entertainment purposes only. I have full write-ups, sources, everything on my Substack channel. It is free to subscribe. I'm also uploading every single video from the series there. The ones that TikTok takes down, you can find them there. I'm going to set the stage just high level from different parts that we've had already. There were at least 6 employees, I'm still digging, with 10 LLCs over a myriad of years. It took in more than $14 million from TPUSA while collecting salaries as employees of TPUSA. We have found $8.25 million at least going towards ghost employees. It's like they got their playbook from the daycares in Minnesota. We have found multiple LLCs that are created and then dissolve within a year and a half, and then more that are created and dissolve and take money. We have found Kirk was murdered. He asked for a Doge-like assessment on TPUSA financials and operations.
Okay. Wow, what a show I got out today, huh, you guys? I'm glad I definitely found that Nell one I looking for, and I came across on the Melanie page on Telegram. Thanks, Lucy, and So yeah, we got the big videos out of the way, and get back to the normal ones tonight. Glad we got Terrence came out today. Billy came out last night, but they were only short ones. She hasn't got a big one out yet today. So everybody have a good afternoon, good dinner, and then I'll be back after dinner time at 6. Thanks, Boz. We got Kay. Hope we get better with her migraine. And Lucy, Carol, Tim, hi, Diego. Who else am I missing? I think I got everybody. So God bless everybody. Love all. Remember, please hit the like. And stay safe, stay strong, keep your faith. Never give up. Signing off on a Sunday. First show, Chico Dude. We'll see you tonight at 6. Bless everybody, love all. And see you soon.